Hey, thanks for stopping by. Let me show you, this is the newest building on my layout, and I did this by using my Inkjet printer. So stick around and I'll show you the steps that I used to make this. Well, let's start back at the beginning. Here's the space that I need to fill. I have a need for a general industry in this space here, and it is 10 inches by 4 inches. I think that will just do it, and I don't want a two-story building necessarily because I still want to be able to reach in and fiddle with some of the elements of the layout. Well, now that I know the footprint of the building I want to create, it's time to go to the computer and open up a software package called Model Builder by Evan Designs. You can see the small intro screen here. And with this software package, you can take components like doors and windows, and you can add different types of building materials and then print it out on your Inkjet printer. And you can see here's an industrial door, for example, and I can, easily move it around, do whatever I want. And up here in your palette, you have many different building products available. Here's a little industrial door. This part of the building will never get seen, but this part here is part of the loading area, so that will get seen as well. And then once you're happy with your design and the colors and things like that, then we can print it out. So here you can see our printouts. And so now we have to grab some materials. You can use cardboard, foam core, paper, maybe a file folder, but we have to build the structure. I really like this hardboard stuff. I use it all the time, and I like it because I have definite right angle edges and things like that. So let's head out to the shop. Well, here's our basic rectangle glued together. Got some stick wood in the corners, and that'll help support the corners as well as provide a little landing area for the roof panel. So I want a little bit of a loading dock area. So I took another piece of, I think this is poplar, and it's basically a rectangle. However, I did run it through the table saw just ever so slightly, creating this little rabbet on the edge so that there's a tiny little, I don't know if the camera will focus, there's just a tiny little profile here. But you could easily do that with gluing a piece of cardboard on it, things like that, if you don't have a table saw. Oops, hey, wait a second. I really need to hit this edge with some gray paint before we take it back inside. Okay, well now it's a simple matter of cut and paste, just like grade school. So let's grab the X-Acto knife and a ruler and get to work. All the pieces have been cut out, so now it's time for some glue and to attach these to our box. Well, the plan is I'm going to do each end, trim it, and then do the back, which no one will see, and then I'll end up doing the part that faces the operator last. So hopefully we'll get some experience gluing the other sides by the time we get to the part that shows the most. And my idea is to spray maybe a third of this panel. I'm going to treat this the same way I would do Formica, and that way I can slide the paper around until I get it aligned, and then pull out these sticks, and then I can peel it back and spray the rest, and hopefully we'll be able to keep our alignment that way. So I'll do one side at a time and then trim it with a knife and then move on. Okay, so I sprayed the end and the paper. So let's get this aligned. Sticks out. And now I can peel this side back. Kind of spray that. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but the little cornice on the top, I actually trimmed it off the wall and I glued it onto a little piece of cardboard, and that will give it a little bit of 3D relief. This will be a little easier to get aligned. And then just a little bit of cinder block, a little row of block for the bottom. Well, to tell you the truth, that went better than I expected. Now let me trim this off with a knife. I'll flip it around and we'll start on the other sides. Well, for the roof panel, I could have printed out a roof pattern, but instead I'm going to use some 600 grit sandpaper because it's got a rough texture and it's just the right color black. We'll just stick it on now and then I'll trim it off. Well, we're just about done. I'm going to take a Q-tip and with a little bit of paint, I'm just going to hit some of the spots that maybe are a bit too shiny, maybe weather this plank just a little bit. With paper, if the edge shows, of course it's going to be white. So you just want to go around and just touch up a few things. It's finally time to see how our building looks on the layout. Get that set in there, and let's go ahead and put the roof on. There we are. And the loading dock. And let's stick a little ladder in there just in case somebody has to crawl up on there. And then to finish it off, I reached into the scrap bin and pulled out some leftovers. A little chimney over here. I'll park our car up here. And there we have it. A building faced with paper. You can just build it yourself. I think it turned out pretty well. I like the way the cornice is stepped away from the surface. Well, for me, I think that turned out great. I'm really happy with it. Just printing some things on paper and sticking it on a cardboard or a little wooden building structure. I'm ready to put it to work. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.